Hey everyone, Dan here. We are during market hours on Thursday, May 20th, and today we're going to take a look at BLNK, charging, and the possibility of a short squeeze as it is one of the most shorted stocks currently. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And let's jump right in. So we've had some luck lately calling out short squeeze stocks. Right now the big one that's winning is the pre-SoFi merger of IPOE, as the ticker still currently is. And so as I'm scanning through looking for other opportunities, BLNK jumped out to me for a few reasons. Let's first go through the sort of like short interest and short selling data, and then we'll come to the chart and see how the chart might be able to position itself in order to give it a better opportunity to squeeze. So let's hop over here. I think I actually want to start with this and just sort of show where it sits with everything. So these are the most shorted stocks currently. You have Pubmatic, OnTrack, and then BLNK coming in at number 3. Change year to date is down over 20%, and the float that's shorted is currently over 37%. So just to broken record myself, historically speaking, over 10% should catch your attention for like, whoa, that's pretty high. Float shorted percent. Over 20% was sort of like getting into real risky territory of like, wow, there might be strong short squeeze potential here. So being that this is getting closer to 40%, this is really eyebrow raising in terms of the percentage of float being shorted. The other big deal with BLNK in particular is the fee to borrow these shares to short sell them is at 60% currently. So, and this has had this big run up. Back here it was in single digits and it ran up a little bit and then cooled off and now has pushed itself back up again. At one point it was as high as 80% recently, but the availability is very low. It's only 10,000. Oh, keep clicking on that. This is not the handiest chart, but 55,000 available, 60% fee. So the fee being that high is going to put a lot of pressure on folks who are incurring that fee, which are the short sellers, to either make big profits very quickly or close their position out, because otherwise they're just bleeding that money, plus losing the money from the stock not selling off so that they can buy back cheaper shares. So the fee being high is super important. The other factors, the short volume remains very high. The ratios in the 20s still. So of all the volume for the day, there's the total volume and there's the short volume. So over 21.9 is the ratio. And as you see, that's holding pretty strong. So it does tend to go up and down significantly. So it'll often double the volume and then cut itself in half and double again. But, this is daily. So these are just, if you look at the days this week even, it's staying very high. So the short sellers, even though the fee is jumping up, they aren't currently backing off. So what's going to happen is, if BLNK can put together a few green days, or even, if the fee stays high, even just sort of sideways days, that'll put enough pressure on the short sellers probably that they'll have to start closing out positions. So it just depends, can that all happen in a timely enough fashion that it, causes something like a squeeze. The dollar value of the sold short, the dollar volume of the sold short shares, 515 million. So there's a lot of money in this one. I think last I checked, AMC was something like 733 million or something like that. So this is getting shockingly close. Now, granted, BLNK's share price is much higher. So, you factor that in. But, that is very high. And you do see a bit of a dip here from month to month. So, or reporting date to reporting date. but it had sizable increases here. So a small decrease to me is not a deal breaker. It does bring it sort of like a little bit of a mixed bag into the picture. But to me, the biggest factors are the float short percentage being so high, the fee being so high, and especially if that fee increases, the volume staying at least on par with recent volume. And then sort of like the one thing that kind of makes me kind of go, I don't know. Sorry, stupid advertisement coming up. Oh no, I clicked it. Um, but the one thing that makes me sort of like question it a little bit is that small decrease from reporting date to reporting date. But to me, that's not a big deal. It's not a big change, minus 1.6%. But just to be fair and present that too, which is like maybe semi-supportive of it won't squeeze. I wanted to throw it in there. Now this isn't specific short squeeze stuff, but just to give us a sense of like where we are before we go to the chart, analysts, which analysts are analysts, but to the extent that people pay attention to them and follow them, it can cause price swings. So they have about an 18% upside based on a $38 average price target, 3 buys, 1 hold. So nobody is in the sell category. It's only 4 analysts, so it's not a ton, but it's not nothing. So let's go to the chart and let's start and get some broader context with the 3-month chart. So this will include like when a lot of the short selling picked up, and will give us sort of like a broader context to deal with. So it's actually a really nice chart in the sense of we can pretty clearly pick out a bunch of supply and demand zones, aka support and resistance zones. So like here's a really strong one, support back here, gave it the launch pad for this big push up, and then caught itself at support here as well. And then should be jumping out that there's a very clear one here. Offered broad support there, support here, gave it a little stutter step there, and then has turned into resistance from here to here. So those are really, and that's right about where the price is right now. So it establishing support at 33.05 could give it the bullish strength in order to continue to push higher, or at least hold and offset some of the pressure of the short sellers, and give it the ability to cause them to have to close their position and squeeze. To the further upside, these are the upper price targets that I'd be looking for if a squeeze can sort of like get kicked off. But first things first, we want to see a few green days in a row, and we want them to accumulate such that there's enough pressure. So you see there have been several green days in a row, and so the pressure should be coming on. So with the fee staying high and the price stabilizing here, and recently upticking, I would look to see what happened. You see it can happen where there's a big run up and then it just gets beaten back down a ton further. So I think because the short sellers have had so much success fighting back green days, or attempted bullish runs, it seems like they're not slowing down volume wise. On the indicators, for the 3-month interval, RSI is right about midpoint, so nothing there that should prevent more buying pressure to come in. And on the MACD, a little bit of a bearish crossover here to give it some space to breathe. Obviously, much more bullish momentum than bearish momentum is dying down. Bullish momentum is picking up. And so we'll see how this dip goes that it's currently working on right now. And, if it can get a bit of a bullish crossover going, I do think that 33.05 to me, if it can get support there, so not this thing where it tried and failed, and then just started, creating resistance again. But getting over this and getting some distance away from it, that will be important. I would say maybe looking for something like in this range. But that is maybe like if it can get enough distance from 33.05 that it starts treating 34.83 as resistance. That to me would be a strong indication that there might be enough sort of buying pressure and bullish strength that's come in that it's going to like overwhelm the high fee borrowed shares that the short sellers are using and may initiate the squeeze. Let's hop over to the 5-day chart to just sort of see, if this does play out relatively quickly, what that could look like. So on the 5-day interval, there's like a bit of a channel that's holding up here. It's coming out the top quite a bit there. So, it is toward the bottom of the channel right now. So in terms of like anything where we, respect the channel and say, sort of dip by the bottom of the channel and take profit at the top of the channel, this would sort of constitute a bottom of the channel dip buy on sort of like the price target range. I think a bunch of these are going to hold. It's going to be more reliable to use the price targets from the 3-month chart. So in the case of, the channel, if you did want to play it, I would basically just go ahead and play the way that I just said, which is dip by the bottom, take profit toward the top, or if you see that a squeeze is coming, it's going to blow well out of the top of the channel. And so in that case, it would just keep on trucking. But essentially, if it can hold this channel, that'll be a further support of a potential short squeeze. But just remember that fee has to stay high, in my opinion, in order to make the squeeze possible. So pretty low on the RSI since it has come down a little bit recently in the past few 5-minute intervals. So that should allow us to have some buying pressure come in. And the MACD also has dipped quite a bit, still working on forming this bearish area of the histogram. The bullish momentum definitely died down there, but you can see that in the price action anyway. So if we get a crossover here, maybe this dips down into below baseline, aka negative territory, gives it even more potential for room to run to the upside. So that's what I would be looking for. All right, well, hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully it made sense and gave you something to look for, some ideas to execute on. And thanks a bunch for watching. I appreciate it. I will see you in the next video.